If your content marketing is failing, then don't worry, you're not alone. A lot of people feel the exact same way. And today I'm going to break down in this episode why that could be the case. Okay, it might be something very, very simple. It might just be a slight tweak in what you're doing that's going to make it a lot more successful. And 9 times out of 10, it's a behavior thing, a mindset thing that you will be unaware of. We're going to talk about it all in this video. So the very first reason why, and the thing we're going to talk about, is what we call the emotional cycle of change. So the emotional cycle of change is a theory which we all go through when we start something new. So if you've started content marketing, you've decided that content marketing is for you, it's a new avenue, it's a new venture, then you're going to start to go through this emotional cycle of change. It's where you're learning something new. And the reality is the emotional cycle of change is 5 steps, and everyone has to go through them. It's impossible for you to not go through this emotional cycle of change. And these are the 5 steps to success. And you have to go through these, and the first 3 are difficult, and the final 2 are actually a lot better. And I'm going to explain each individual one for you, and then this will tell you exactly why your content marketing is failing and how, with a little bit of a tweak, you can be successful. So the very first one is the emotional cycle of change is what we call the stage 1, which is uninformed optimism. So uninformed optimism is stage 1, and this is where when you start to create videos, you decided that you're going to start making YouTube content, you decided you're going to start a podcast, you probably have seen other creators, you probably looked at other people and gone, actually, I can do that because they make it look really easy. I can do that. And the reality is, you are at that point, you are uninformed. You don't really know what it takes to do that. So that is what we call uninformed optimism, and it's very exciting. It's the very first rung of that ladder. It moves you on to the second part of the emotional cycle of change, which is informed pessimism. So informed pessimism is when you've started to actually do the work. You've started to make a few YouTube videos. You've started to make a few podcasts. You've started to do some Facebook content. You're realizing that actually this is a lot harder than I thought. And now I understand that there's analytics, there's hooks, there's watch time, there's tech, there's a lot more things involved than looking at the amazing guy on YouTube and thinking, oh, I could do that. And this is what we call stage 2, which is an informed pessimism. Now, this is where things start to go downhill. They're starting to go downhill at this point. So what leads us on to the third point, which is Valley of Despair. Stage 3 is the Valley of Despair. Now, stage 3 is the hardest stage of all time. And the problem with stage 3 is this is where you are going to be thinking, I can't do this. This is way too hard. This is not worth it. This is where you feel a state of overwhelm. And you're looking at your content marketing and thinking, this is never going to work. And the thing you've got to be very careful of when it comes to being in the Valley of Despair is you have one of 2 choices. The first choice is that you quit. Now, you might quit, and what will happen when you quit is you will go back to stage 1 on something else. What will happen is and this is what we call a never-ending, like a negative feedback loop. It's like 92% of people will always be in this negative feedback loop. They'll just continue doing this. And this is the type of thing where, let's take YouTube, and we say, I think YouTube is going to be the best place for me to grow my business. So I start making YouTube videos. I'm in stage 1 in uninformed optimism. I start making YouTube videos and I realize that, you're going to get 25 views for a long, long time and people aren't watching. So you go, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought. This is informed pessimism. And then move into stage 3, which is then I'm like, this is way harder than I thought. I've been doing this for 3 months. This sucks. Like, this is not worth it. I can't do it. This is where that dangerous thing happens, because what will happen is in the negative, what we call the negative feedback loop, is a podcast comes along and we go, oh, a podcast. Actually, YouTube doesn't work. Podcast, though, that looks great. Where are we now? We're in stage 1 again. We're back in stage 1. We're in uninformed optimism. A podcast is great. Actually, wait a minute. A podcast is a little bit more difficult than I expected. This isn't working. Oh, blogging is amazing. It's actually a lot harder than I thought. This isn't working. Oh, TikTok, look, it must be great. Harder than I thought, isn't working, and it is this never ending loop. You're going to keep going round and round and round and round, and that is the problem that many people don't realize, that is a massive issue that you have to combat. Now, if you are one of the few percentage of people who are strong enough to do what others will not, to push through, then what will happen is you can push through to stage 4 and 5. Stage 4 being informed optimism. In other words, this is easier. This is getting easier. I'm understanding this now. I can grab it. I'm getting it, which will lead you all the way to stage 5, which is success and fulfillment. So success and fulfillment is all of those people you see on YouTube, all of those content creators on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and like anywhere else. These are these people who have pushed through this valley, this emotional cycle of change, and that is why their content marketing is successful. And if you are finding yourself in this negative feedback loop, and that is why your content probably is failing, then you have to get yourself out of it. Because if you don't, I hate to tell you, but the reality is you are only going to keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And that absolutely the worst thing you can do. So you want to make sure that if you are going to do something, commit to it and get yourself through all 5 stages of the emotional cycle of change. You can do it. I believe you can do it. I have done it myself. And every time you take on something new, by the way, every time you start a new content endeavor in your business, this is going to happen. You can do it. All right. If you've enjoyed this podcast, this YouTube channel, wherever it is you're watching, this is the Content Marketing 101 show. Feel free to drop a like and let me know how you got the value in the comments. Also, check out my free Content Marketing Masterclass. The link is in the show notes, and I will see you in the next one, okay? Bye.